Uptown has this amazing history of being this port of entry for many different people since the 1950s in a city that is hyper segregated. This would be the community where, for instance, poor white Appalachian folks migrated here to the point where they had such a large population. It was Uptown was called Hillbilly Harlem. Also displaced here were Native Americans from the reservations. Japanese Americans moved here, some of whom were in the concentration camps in California. Vietnamese folks moved here in the 70s, displaced from the war. Puerto Ricans displaced from Lincoln Park. So this being in the 70s and 80s, like by the 80s, I think the #1 integrated and diverse community in the Midwest. It was definitely a community both with severe poverty and definitely upper class sort of enclaves. The city of Chicago had, the planners and the mayor had observed that this huge white flight leaving the city and going to the suburbs. They saw the lake, the North Lakefront, as a great place, you know, to develop this middle class white population. The changes, I think, are definitely related to the fighting off gentrification and having some victories and many losses. And so what used to be, you know, maybe 25 to 35,000 lower income people in the community of all different nationalities and cultures has been gentrified to the point where there's only about 4,500 units of more affordable, low-cost housing. It's really a trip to see the greater investment in Uptown. In fact, I was just at a local school council meeting and I heard a representative from CPS say, well, we'll be investing more now in this school. Now that there's more middle income people, now they see it's important to put money into the schools, and park districts are looking more beautiful and the streets get paved quicker. So sure, it looks nicer and it's cleaner, right? But the heart of the community, you know, to an extent, a lot of our heart has been ripped out with so many people being displaced and had to move. You know, most of my friends and most of the people I grew up with are no longer here. I look at that as not progress, because I think progress means that the people who were here for many years benefit from the development of living wage jobs and better schools that then allows them to make a better life for themselves together. Now there's a new class of people living here, many of whom know nothing about the history and the diversity and the struggles of people. They just see black, you know, boys and they're afraid of them, and so they call the cops all the time. And they see people who maybe hang out on the street as just bums who bother them. They see people who are homeless as just a nuisance and not a group of human beings who society has failed in a way. And now it's, you know, total strangers walking their dogs, you know, and looking down on people, right? And afraid to talk oftentimes. So it's really strange. But at the same time, if it wasn't for community struggles, most all of us would be displaced. So there wouldn't even be the, you know, 4 to 4,500 or so units of housing, lower income units of housing without those struggles. So you also feel this sense of pride and accomplishment that we didn't allow this to become a Lincoln Park. The people fought together for enough victories to have a piece of this area as well for working class and lower income people.